Jerry Taft, Realtor and Personal Real Estate Corporation with Mountain Town Properties. I'm based in Invermere, BC, and let's talk about some real estate statistics. So we're in April 5th is when I'm recording this, and I've had a chance to kind of look at the sales for the last, for February and March, and also previously did some work on January. So kind of looking at year to date for the first quarter, first three months of the year, and kind of where are things at, what's going on. So looking back now, this reminds me a bit of 5 years ago. Around this time in 2020, we were dealing with a whole bunch of uncertainty with the sort of the start of COVID. People were predicting that real estate was going to crash. And at the time I did a video and I did a blog post, and I really thought about the area, land, what's tangible. And I just couldn't comprehend real estate crashing. It did not make sense. The buyers that I had been dealing with were buying because they love it here. They want to be here. They were not speculators. Did I predict that things would go as crazy as they did and prices would shoot up? No, I did not. But I knew that there was stability in the market, and I knew we wouldn't see things go down. And it's sort of the same feeling this time around, is prices may not go up, but I can guarantee they're not going down. There's not much inventory, there's not much selection, especially single family homes or anything with lake access or a view of Lake Windermere is in really short supply. So let's get into a little bit of the numbers here and just kind of actually look at what's going on so far. So looking at the March of this year, we're at 43 sales so far for the March, and that compares to last year at 40 sales, and this is for the entire Columbia Valley. Year to date, 111 sales for 2025 compared to 101 for 2024. So we're up about 9% for sales year to date. One stat that's kind of interesting is days on market are slightly higher, so we're seeing a little bit longer for things to sell. This could be explained by things potentially being a bit slower in January, end of January and February. We really saw a bit of a slowdown in the market, a lot of fear over the tariffs, a lot of uncertainty. But what's interesting is the sale price to list price percentage is actually getting smaller. So for this year so far, most properties are selling, well, the average is 95.18% of sale price to list price. And this time last year it was 93.5%. So that's an interesting number. It'll be something to kind of watch throughout the year and see if that number kind of changes. My feel of the market right now, so far in February and March, there's been a lot of local movement. There's been some first-time home buyers, people getting into the market, some locals upgrading and getting a bigger home. Some of the deals have been a bit complicated, subject to sale, definitely subject to financing. There haven't been very many cash offers, and typically a lot of these properties are kind of in the 500,000 range or thereabouts. Properties over $1 million have been slower. But I see this potentially changing as the weather gets nicer and there's maybe a little more stability economically. We may start seeing some of the higher priced homes start to sell, some of the people coming into the valley with more money investing. So that's going to be something really interesting to watch and see kind of how that plays out. One other factor to kind of watch, and this could be something that does turn into a bit of a trend, is there are Canadians who own recreational property in the States who may be selling in those markets and looking to reinvest in Canada. And there are also a lot of Canadians, expats, who've been living in the States for a long time who are starting to think about coming back to Canada. And these might be full-time residents. So I believe we might start seeing some of that traction in the valley here. The exchange rate is still very favorable and the dollar goes a long way here. We could also see some straight up Americans investing, but I think that's going to be a smaller group. But the Canadians bringing American dollars could be a really interesting trend to kind of watch. Overall, my take is, again, inventory is so low for single family homes. This idea of waiting to see if the market dips is, I don't think it's a good strategy at all. So if there is something that you're interested in or you can afford, I would suggest jumping in while you can. And if you're thinking of selling, this could be a really good time to consider that because the selection is very thin. Thank you very much.